I wanted it to stream horizontal. So hopefully we're not looking like this. Hello and welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. My name is Mandy. And in today's live stream, we are going to talk about something that is very deep, very important. There's a lot of like psychological, philosophical things that are going to go on here. But it's a very important topic because a lot of people will say that they have dreams, they have goals, however, they don't go after what it is that they really want. And I'm not saying that everybody's like this. I'm saying that there are the majority of people who don't fully go after what it is they say they want. And there are reasons. And it's not a lack of talent, it's not a lack of motivation, it's not a lack of intelligence. It is a lot of different things. So we're going to go over what those things are. And not only that, but we're going to go over why we can be so afraid to go after our dreams and how we can transcend this, how we can overcome this. Because the truth is, we as humans are so powerful, and we didn't come here to just live a mediocre life, to just work the 9 to 5 grind. We came here with dreams, with vision, with an ability to create with our very own hands and our minds and our thoughts to change the world in some way, in our own unique way. And why is it that a lot of people will and regret that they didn't do that thing, right? They didn't take that chance. They didn't take that leap of faith. They didn't start that business. They didn't write that book. What's the difference between the people who did and the people who didn't? There's a few differences, and it might not seem like that, but it's really a mindset, it's an identity, and it's all about knowledge, education, and also coming into alignment with using our brains in the way that our brains can function in an efficient way. And when we have the right information and the right tools and the right knowledge and understanding and awareness, how we work as humans, how our brain works, then we can understand the psychology and the science and all the spirituality and everything behind going after your dreams. And then you can become a person who maybe wasn't going after their dreams, who was settling for less, who was abandoning themselves, who was not living authentically, fully. And you can go from that kind of a person to a person who is just crushing it in life. And it doesn't have to look like, your version of crushing it in life doesn't have to look like you're making $1 million or whatever. Your version of crushing it in life can be you live a peaceful life. You are finally going after that thing that you've always wanted to go after. It could be a very simple thing, but you're no longer holding yourself back, right? So in this video, we're going to go over why a lot of us don't go after what it is that we really want and how we can change that, right? So the real reasons that a lot of us won't even admit what it is that we really want. Now, this is not going to apply to everybody, but I'll tell you a little backstory. So if you're the type of person who you secretly want more, you want more in your life, you want more money, you want more abundance, you want more in your relationship, you want more in your health, you just want more. You just feel like if you're really being honest with yourself, you wish that you had more. But you're deep down kind of afraid to say that because it seems like it might be selfish, or you might feel bad, or you might hurt someone's feelings if you say that you want more in your life. But the truth is that you really do. You are maybe jealous of other people, you're envious of other people who have what it is that you want. And jealousy and envy are often signals to show us what it is that we are wanting, but we think that we can't have it. We think that it's only available to that person, and that's not true. So this live stream is going to be for you if you downplay your dreams, because when you say them out loud, they just feel stupid. They feel embarrassing. They feel absolutely impossible. You keep telling yourself, okay, well, I say I want that, but actually I don't want that. You procrastinate, you overthink, you consume a lot of information, you take in a lot of information, but you don't actually act on it. Like an example would be if someone's constantly studying everything that they can about nutrition and fitness, and they buy all the equipment, they buy all of the great products to go to the gym, the right outfits, but they don't actually go and work out every single day and do what it takes to consistently work out every day and form that discipline, right? They say they want the killer body, they say they want it, but they don't actually take the actions to go and go do it. So you're in some way like kind of afraid to succeed, because in a lot of ways, in order for us to become that person that would have those things that we say we want, like say you are in that dream job that you want, you're in that dream body, you're in that dream relationship, then essentially I think deep down we understand that we would have to essentially become like a different person. We would have to think differently, we would have to act differently. And for whatever reason, that signals to our subconscious mind, to ourselves, that that is a threat. That's going to be scary, because that's going to maybe cost us friends. It's going to cost us connection in some way. It's going to cost us being lazy. It's going, if you really want like a killer fit body, then to be able to just eat whatever you want, eat the ice cream every single night. Like you're going to have to show up and be disciplined and become that type of a person that's disciplined. And like if you have anything inside of you that thinks that these types of people are bad in some way, or they're stingy, or they're selfish, or you think anything is going to happen to you that is going to be negative, then somewhere in you, you're going to sabotage the dreams that you say that you want, right? So for years and years and years, I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be a full-time artist. I wanted to be in a relationship with this young man that I was so into. He was like the cutest boy in all of high school that everybody wanted. And I was not even going to admit to myself that I even liked him, because I was ashamed of my own desire for him. And I really didn't think that he would like me. I wanted to be the lead. I wanted to get the lead in a play in high school. I wanted to have the lead role. And I was so afraid to even admit that I wanted that, to go after that, because what would that mean about me if I wanted the lead role? And who would I have to be if I had the lead role? I'd have to be so much more visible. I would have to be seen by a lot of people, and there might be a lot of varying feelings and emotions that might be evoked by me shining or being more visible, being more seen, being on stage, being in this amazing relationship, having this dream job, whatever. The more that we step into those roles of being more alive, being more ourselves, being more turned on, being more visible, being more seen, more eyes are going to be on us. And then there are going to be more opinions, more judgment, more ridicule, perhaps. And then there's also going to be positivity and love. So there's going to be both sides of the spectrum. And if we don't have the ability, if we haven't formed the identity within ourselves to feel grounded and whole in our nervous system about who we are, knowing fully who we are, and feeling settled in that, and having been able to practice not letting external validation or external approval or external disapproval take us off of our center. Like, if one person doesn't like us, another person does like us. If we have been able to practice staying centered and not allowing all this information to come in and take us off center, if we haven't practiced that, then we're going to feel not ready to be able to step out and to fully admit, to fully go after the things that we want, right? So I wanted to be an artist, I wanted to be a singer, I wanted to be all these things, but I also was not capable at the time. I hadn't developed the skills and the ability to be able to handle the things that come with more visibility. Think about Taylor Swift. I mean, talk about visible. She has over time had to adapt and get good at handling a lot of energy, a lot of opinions coming at her, and to be able to become very good at maybe ignoring it, not letting it sink in, and only taking what resonates. And she's really had to find her own center, and I think she's done a fabulous job. I don't know her, but it seems like she's done a really good job at that, and life has prepared her slowly to be able to become more and more and more visible, to become more and more herself. And that's beautiful. Some people are going to love her and some people are going to absolutely hate her. So what can happen is when we do admit what it is that we really want, when we do step into the roles or the careers or the dreams that we really, really want, and say, for instance, they do come true, then what can happen when those things just all of a sudden aren't there anymore, right? So we have to practice the art of being able to just admit what it is that we want without guilt or shame or fear or any of these things, and then to be able to realize that we can handle all of the different identities and everything that's going to take to go after that dream. We're going to be able to handle the visibility. We're going to be able to handle all the different iterations of who we have to become in our journey to the top, in our journey to our dream. And we have to be able to develop the ability in our nervous system to handle holding that much, whatever it might be, that much love, that much depth, that much money, because on some level you haven't been able to, your rubber band hasn't been stretched enough to be able to understand that you're safe, that you're going to be okay, that if and when you step into that place or in that role, you are essentially going to be okay. You're going to be able to handle anything that life throws at you. If people reject you, or if the very thing that you wanted comes into your life and then it's taken away. And I can say this because I've had so many things in my life that I've admitted that I wanted, that I then had, and then it was gone. Like, for instance, I ended up being with this man that I wanted so badly, so badly, and then we ended up parting ways. And at the time, I hadn't developed the groundedness within myself, the ability to know who I am and to be able to stay centered on that. And I had put so much of my identity into being this person's girlfriend that I completely just kind of broke when we broke up, and I did not know who I was, and I felt essentially very, very lost for a very long time. Fast forward many years later, I went after a dream of mine, a huge dream of being a singer, and I was able to secure a position as lead singer in a rock band, and I was able to hold a lot more visibility. I was able to hold that position as a lead singer, but I still had some more nervous system regulation, some more things that I had to practice, because little did I know, and oftentimes we don't know what we don't know until we get into these different scenarios, but little did I know that I was still heavily relying, not as much as I had when I was younger, but I was still heavily relying on external validation, external approval, and therefore at a certain point when I felt the stakes were getting higher and there was more and more pressure to perform better, is the next show going to be better than the next show? And there's pressure that I put on myself, but it was like I put all this pressure on myself, and my nervous system at that point hadn't been stretched that far, and I felt so much pressure that I kind of hit like a plateau, and I couldn't go any further. And so, I had some life experiences. I'm no longer in a rock band. I'm really grateful that I was able to perform professionally and sing all over Oahu in restaurants and weddings, and it was a dream come true. It was a step in the direction of me being able to form this inner groundedness, this inner identity that is not shaken by externals. And that was just part of the process, right? So I'm going to get into 3 things here that would be the reasons as to why a person might feel this resistance to go after their dreams, or every time that they do go after their dreams, they either self-sabotage, or they only get to a certain point and they can't go any further, or they don't even go after their dreams at all, or they don't even think they're possible, or they don't even know what to do. So hopefully this is going to really help. I have 3 things that I want to focus on in this video. The first one is, we're not avoiding failure when we don't go after our dreams, we're avoiding heartbreak. So there's somewhere in there, and I gave some examples earlier, with preemptively thinking that if I go after this thing that I really, really want, like if I really want it, somewhere along the line, I'm getting over a little bit of a cold, somewhere down the line, there's a possibility that if I get this thing that I really want, I could have my heart broken. It could get taken away from me, and that would really, really be painful. More painful than if I never got it. So how about we just stay safe? How about we just don't ever go down that road? We don't ever have to feel those huge feelings of going after our dreams and what it would take to actually go after our dreams. We don't have to feel any of that, because it's going to be uncomfortable. There's going to be unknown roads that we're going to be going down, and different ways that we're going to feel about ourselves that are going to be disorienting, and we're just not able to go through all those variations of our life. Like, let's just stay safe. Let's just keep doing the same thing over and over. Let's just stay in the familiar. We'll go to the same places. We'll do the same things. We'll have the same job. I'm not knocking anybody for doing the same things. I'm just saying, if there's anything in you that does sort of feel like maybe you wish that you would have gone after more things, or you want to go after things but you feel scared, you feel resistance, and then you talk yourself out of it, then there's something to look at there. And it's never too late, ever too late. I mean, I was 44 when I finally became the lead singer of a rock band. 44 years old. I was 43 when I finally decided, hey, I'm going to pick up a guitar and I'm going to start playing piano. Like, why don't I just start right now? You know, it's better late than never, because I was so afraid of heartbreak when I was little. I was so afraid of failing. I was so afraid of not being able to achieve or attain the things that I said that I wanted, that I never even tried. So it's not necessarily that we lack motivation or talent. It's that we are avoiding heartbreak in some way. And it's crazy, because we think that we're not going to be able to handle the heartbreak. We think that we're not going to be able to handle what's going to come with it. But the truth is, we as human beings, we are resilient. We have so much tenacity. We can persevere. We are really capable of being able to get through some pretty hard times. I mean, if we look at our pioneers that came, before us, they were able to live without all the different things that we have now, like electricity and cars and all these things. And they were badass, and they were able to go after some really, really big things. And, yeah, if we can handle the heartbreak. So imagine that you applied for your dream job. Imagine that you wrote that book. Imagine you fell in love with that person that you really, that is just like the most amazing person on the planet. Imagine that you were trying to have a family, and you were trying to have that baby, and you were going after some dream, whatever the dream is for you. What is this thing that you're just wanting so bad, that you feel, if you could achieve this thing, if you could have this thing, it would make you feel free. It would make you feel alive. What is that thing? Imagine going after it, and it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out. How does that feel? You feel like a failure. You feel like you messed up. You feel like you should have never tried. You might tell yourself all kinds of different stories. And if we're not careful, we might believe those stories, and we might shame ourselves. We might judge ourselves. We might second guess ourselves. And that is where we have to really be mindful. We have to be mindful, because uncertainty can feel safer than grief. So if you never know, if you just stay in a place of, I don't know, I never went after my dreams, I don't know, like for me, if I never go after that guy, if I never go after that dream, if I never do that thing, that's a lot safer than the grief that I might feel if I go after that thing and I actually don't get it. But what's going to be more powerful when I get to the end of my life, when I look back on my life, is the grief going to be worse, or is the uncertainty and the regret that I never went after those things? And then that's going to be grief, because I can handle the grief. I was able to handle all of these different things. Like, I'm so glad that I've gone after so many different things. And if you've been watching any of my content, you have seen me go after a million different things and try a bazillion different things and fail at like a million different things over and over and over and over again. And I've become, I think, pretty good at just letting things roll off my shoulders and just say, hey, at least I'm trying, at least I'm giving myself the gift to discover and to go after those things, and just to see if they're going to work. And if they do, great. And if they do for a time, great. Yeah. So yeah, our nervous system, it has a lot to do with our nervous system. And this is why a lot of people, they just are, and I get it. I so get it. Like, I definitely can see myself doing this too. Like, don't fully allow yourself to really be seen in what it is that you really want and who you really are, because like, when you really go for it and somebody doesn't say, like, when you really go after that acting job, right? And you're like, you go to 5 different casting calls and you give it your all. You've been practicing for days, for months. You are just envisioning having this role. It's going to feel so good. And you go to every single one. You give every last drop of your heart, and every single one of them says no. That's hard. That's hard. And if you haven't developed the kind of inner wholeness, inner identity to know that, like, that doesn't define you. Just because those people said no, that doesn't define you. That doesn't have to change your dream or your goal. All you do is you take that as information and you come back and you say, what did I learn? What do I need to change? How do I get better? What do I need to iterate? And you tweak it. And you say, oh, maybe it's because I'm going after comedy roles, but maybe life is trying to tell me that I would be a lot better at action films or something. And so you iterate, you iterate, and you let life inform you, but you don't let it completely knock you off your, okay? So number 2 would be, you can't create a life that you are too afraid to even desire. If on some level success, or having a lot of money, or having a lot of love, or being in a committed relationship, or if you feel anywhere inside of you that the very thing that you say that you want is actually going to cause you some kind of pain, then even as much as you say that you want it, there's going to be some kind of inner resistance, and you're going to sabotage it in some way. And this is because a lot of us will censor our desire. Not everybody. I see this a lot in religious circles. Like, it's not okay to want to have sex. It's not okay to want to be sexual. It's not okay to desire someone. It's not okay to flirt. It's not okay to be flirtatious. Like, I would do this a lot, like, shame myself. It's not okay to feel these feelings that we all feel. We feel desire. We can feel these things. It's just like, let yourself feel them. They don't have to take you over. They don't have to consume you. You don't have to be obsessed. You can feel something and pause, and then with your wise mind, you can assess the situation. You can journal about it for some time and ask yourself, okay, what is this? What's reality? What's really going on? I don't have to necessarily just go and act and do something hastily when I don't have enough information. But desire in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing, but for some people it can feel really bad, because for some people it's really even scary just to say what it is that they want. I remember I did this exercise at this big 3-day weekend seminar thing. It was like a personal growth seminar thing. And one of the questions, so we had to partner up, and one of the questions that they asked was, all you do is you face each other. So there's person A and person B. And person A is to say to person B, what do you want? And then person B is, all they're supposed to say is just like the things that they want. They're supposed to say like, I want to be famous. Thank you. What do you want? And that's it. The person will say, thank you. What do you want? And then this other person keeps saying what it is they want. And I remember going through this exercise, and I was so uncomfortable that I started crying, because it was really, I could feel this resistance, this shame, this feeling inside of me that was really having a hard time accessing that place inside of me to even discover or disclose another person know what it was that I wanted, because I felt on so many levels that what it was that I wanted was unreasonable. What does it mean about me if I want these things that doesn't match up with the identity that I had created for myself? Like, if a person like me really wanted to be able to, have a ton of money and beautiful clothes and an easy life with a jet and a husband that adores me and whatever, like, what kind of person would that make me? Would that make me a selfish person? Would I then lose friends? Would I lose connection because somewhere along the line those are the messages that I got? So this can run really, really, really deep. And if you keep asking yourself not necessarily what you think that you should say, not what your church says that you should say, not what your parents say, not what you think your parents would want you to say, not what you think your husband would want you to say, not even what sometimes even you think that you should say. Don't censor it. What if you didn't censor at all what it was that you wanted? You didn't minimize it. You didn't make it impossible. You didn't say, oh, well, a person who's good, a person who's humble, a person who isn't selfish, whatever, fill in the blank. She wouldn't want that. He wouldn't want that. What if you just let yourself just say, I want this, I want that, I want this? Because we can't create a life that we on some level are too afraid to want, right? So we will sabotage. We will essentially sabotage. And this is just good information to become aware of, so that we can understand where our limiting beliefs are, because we all have different ones, and where the ceiling is in our nervous system at the present moment, where our rubber band has been stretched, and where we could start to invite more stretching, more experiences, and start to actually create those. To say, okay, I'm scared, but in order to get to a next level, in order to start heading toward those things that I say that it is that I want, or even becoming okay with saying the things that I want, I need to start doing this. I need to start saying this. I need to surround myself with certain people. I need to start doing certain things. I need to stop doing certain things, right? So this is just all good, I think, questions to ask yourself, so that if you're in a place where you just don't want to, I don't know, you're just wanting more. There's something inside of you that says, I know that I'm capable of more, and I know that I can create more in my life. I'm just not exactly sure how to do that, especially maybe in your present circumstance. Maybe you feel in your present circumstance that you just don't have the resources, the money, the time, the networking. I'm telling you, if I could just somehow share my entire life story, it does not make any sense as to why I would be able to be living the life that I'm living right now, given where I'm from. But it's with asking these deep questions and marrying neuroplasticity along with spirituality, along with faith, along with recovery, along with all kinds of different modalities, with meditation, visualization, with connection, with talking, like all kinds of different things. I have been able to get on board with the way that my brain thinks and the way that we can actually transcend, and we can break these limiting patterns, these limiting beliefs. We can form new beliefs, make new decisions, and over time, with changes in behavior, with changes in our environment, with changes in our thinking, with changes in our identity, all kinds of different things. There's all kinds of different things that go into this. And we can truly change our lives with the low-hanging fruit that are available to us right now. Yes, with $5 in your bank account, with maybe all you're doing is working like a measly job and you don't really feel like you have that many resources. Yes, even there, maybe you still can't get out of that addiction. Yes, even there, things can change. Okay, and then the last one, success demands that you survive many different versions of yourself. So we've kind of gotten into this a little bit, and this is so true that when we are achieving or on our road to achieving different things in our life, when we are moving forward, when we are going into new versions of ourselves, when we're breaking out of old versions of ourselves, when things in the past or even things in the present are no longer working and we longer working, we're not exactly sure where we're going, but we're going into a new version of ourselves, because over the course of your life, you are going to enter into many different versions of yourself, or at least you should. I have entered so many different versions of myself. It's crazy. Like every single month, I feel like I'm in a new version of myself. I grow really, really fast because I'm constantly doing this personal growth work. But in order for you to achieve any kind of success in your life, and success can be defined in any way that you want success to be defined. For me, success is largely when I have a lot of peace in my life. I have a ton of money, but I don't have peace, that's not success. If I have a relationship and I'm married and I live in a mansion, but I don't have peace, that to me is not success. Success is when you have a balanced life and you feel a sense of wholeness and integrity, and you have the things that you want, which for everyone that's going to be different. You know, in one season of my life, I really, really wanted to be a lead singer of a band. That was success to me. In another season of life, I might want to just sit in a rocking chair at night with my beloved and sip on tea and have a peaceful evening, right? So success is going to be different for everybody. But no matter what, on our road to success, we are going to have to face different versions of ourselves. We need to have emotional flexibility. We need to be able to become emotionally stable, emotionally intelligent. And if you do not have the skill of being able to be emotionally flexible and emotionally intelligent, emotionally articulate, emotionally available, then I would highly suggest studying your brains out on how to become emotionally available, emotionally flexible, emotionally stable, because this is so important for you to be so connected to your emotions, to be connected to yourself, to be able to go through the different identities and versions of yourself that it's going to take for you to be able to accept different parts of yourself, to let go of different parts of yourself, to be able to iterate, to be able to pivot over and over and over again, to be able to let things just flow, to equally go after something with all your heart and your soul, and to at the same time be able to completely let go of the result. That takes emotional resilience, emotional flexibility. Yes, it takes so much to be criticized, to be able to change directions, to be able to lose a lot of money and have a lot of money, to be able to outgrow friendships, to be able to outgrow towns, to be able to outgrow homes, relationships, to be able to go into new relationships, to be able to succeed, to be able to fail and make mistakes. Like success is not becoming just this one thing. Success is being able to experience a lot of different things. A lot of different things. I mean, again, I don't know why I'm bringing up Taylor Swift, because I don't listen to any of her music really, and I don't really follow her at all, but I mean, she comes to mind because, I mean, she is someone that, like, whether you love her or you hate her, she has achieved a great level of success, and it seems like she had to become several different people in order to succeed. I mean, she was I don't know, the country kind of girl, the pop girl, the sexy singer, the one that was like always breaking up with boyfriends, to now I think she's married now. I have no idea, but she's had to become a lot of different people and stay present through uncertainty, stay present through ridicule, stay present through criticism, and to be able to take all of that and with a emotional resilience, with emotional flexibility, with emotional stability, with recovery, with, I don't know if she's sober, but definitely being a sober person, that helps a lot with being able to be emotionally stable. But take all of that and to not let it make you cave, but to, you know, to create something with all of that energy, right? To be able to continue to create even when you're not perfect, even when things are not necessarily going in the direction that you want them to go, but to be able to trust that even if you feel lost, you'll eventually find your way. You know, like when you're trailblazing, you often don't know necessarily where you're going. I mean, it's a lot easier to get on a road that's already been paved. You know exactly where you're going. But think about the people that actually had to create that road. They weren't exactly sure, like, where does this go? If we keep going here, are we going to end up at a mountain? Are we going to end up at a stream or a field? Like, now we can just look on a map and we know, oh, field, stream, mountain. But when you are just going out into the unknown, you have to be able to come upon a lot of different things. And you really, entrepreneurship or on the road to your goals or your dreams or succeeding, that really is like a personal growth path. It's really spirituality. Like, it's one of the most potent paths you could ever take. And boy, you're going to face yourself. You're going to face your shadow. You're going to face your resistance. You're going to face your shame. You're going to face your fear. You're going to face so many different things. And are you going to be the type of person that's going to be able to face it and be able to just kind of move into it? Or are you going to be someone who is just going to like want to stay in the safe zone, stay where it's familiar, stay where it's safe, because you're too afraid to experience all these different things that we can handle. We've already talked about that in the beginning of this video, that like we as humans can handle a lot. We can handle rejection, we can handle criticism, we can handle abandonment, we can handle all of these things that we sometimes will think in our heads that we can't handle, but we can, especially when we develop that inner stability. All right, so I think that's where we're gonna land here. Yeah, I think that's where we're gonna land, because I want to close this because we're already getting at like about 40 minutes. Yeah, so the dream. What is your dream? What is your biggest dream? Type it in the comment. Like, what is it that you really wish that you could go after, you want to go after, something maybe that you went after and it didn't work out, you want to go after again? Like, what is your biggest dream? And what is that thing that you're afraid to admit that you really, really, really want? Because I think that when we say it out loud, I think that that's really good for our own selves to witness that this is the thing that I want. I remember saying to myself, wow, this dream of being a singer has been buried for decades. I had this dream when I was a little girl to be a singer, but I never thought it could be possible, so I just buried it. And then it wasn't until I went on a blind date, I was set up on a blind date in my 40s with a musician, and he really came into my life, I feel, as an angel to really ignite that dream again, to unearth it. And I was like, wow, I didn't even remember that this was a dream of mine. And I really am so grateful for that experience, because it really gave me this opportunity, albeit it was a lot later in life, but that doesn't matter, better late than never, to really admit to myself, this is something I really want to go after. Like, I really want to be a singer. And so I did what it took. I bought a microphone, I taught myself how to play guitar, I put myself out there, and I felt like a fool the entire time. I felt silly, I felt stupid, I felt like this is impossible, what am I doing? I look like a fool, this is never gonna happen. And then I took a giant leap of faith when I was in my early 40s to move to Oahu all on my own, a one-way ticket. I did not have a job before I came here. I didn't have much money. It was in the middle of COVID. And I moved here because I admitted to myself that I had a dream, because I admitted to myself that this is what I really wanted. And I went after it because I was willing to go through all of the different emotions, and I was willing for it to fail. I was willing to look like a fool. I was willing to go through all of that because I really wanted to see if I could actually do this. And I truly never thought, I really, like, part of me was like, I'm gonna move to Oahu and I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna sing on the island. I I really was like, you're out of your freaking mind. You are living such a pipe dream. Like, this is never going to happen. Do you realize how old you are? Do you realize you don't even have a resume? You've never even like sang professionally ever. Do you really think this is going to happen, especially as someone in your 40s? And then a certain set of circumstances happened, and I ended up getting an email, and someone asked me if I wanted to audition to be a lead singer in a rock band, and I got the role. So when you admit what you really want, your life can change. And it's not because it just like magically appears the second you admit it, but it's because you stopped hiding from yourself. You stopped hiding, minimizing, suppressing, making it wrong, thinking it's impossible. Like, what if it's not impossible? Especially a dream that just won't shut up, that dream that just keeps whispering. Because the truth is, you know, like we said, the heartbreak or it not working out or whatever, it always works out. Everything's always working out, especially if you believe that it's always working out. Even a no, every no can lead to a yes. So even if a no seems like it's not working out, it actually is working out, because that just means your yes is down the road. Abandoning yourself over and over again, that's not what we want to do. We don't want to abandon our dreams. We don't want to abandon ourselves, abandon our desires, and just keep minimizing things, because we're going to slowly convince ourselves that this life is smaller than what we're meant for, that we have to settle, and we don't. Don't make your life small. Make your life big in the way that you feel for yourself. We're all very, very, very different. So I didn't introduce myself in the beginning of this video. I'm Mandy. I help entrepreneurs, I help creative people to understand the psychology behind like why they might stay stuck, why they might stay in these self-abandoning kind of patterns. I help them with neuroplasticity, with nervous system regulation, with spirituality, with a little bit of 12-step recovery, with all kinds of different modalities. And I especially use creativity to help people to reconnect back with their true selves, so that they can build what it is that they want to build. It might be a business. It might be they want to go after a dream. It might be they want to go after that relationship. I help them to understand where they're misaligned, and through journaling and all kinds of different practices, through coaching, through support, through my Create method, which is a 6-step process, which I'll get to in a second. I help creatives and entrepreneurs crush their goals too. But first we have to talk about the psychology. We have to get in here. We have to do the inner work. We have to do the mindset work. We have to understand how we operate, what's holding us back, what is our resistance. And there's a process that we go through to be able to uncover all these different layers. And then slowly but surely we start to move in the direction of our dreams. But we become whole and integrated and connected on the way there. So we're not just going for something and then sabotaging it. We're not just hastily making these decisions or just changing behavior and then nothing really changes. No, we change things. We transform to the root in my program. Okay, so it's called the Create method. This is about transforming behind everything. So this is all the stuff that's underneath, all the stuff that you can't see, because you cannot grow anything bigger than the level of your own identity, bigger than the level of your own sense of self-worth. Even if you want it so bad, if your identity and your self-worth and your faith and your belief and your limiting beliefs, if those are misaligned in any way, if your subconscious programming is negative in some way or is gonna feel a threat, you're not going to, as smart as you are, as motivated as you are, as gregarious as you are, you're going to come up against some resistance, and then you're going to shame yourself and you're just going to end up in a loop. So I help people to grow to the next level of their identity, their emotional capacity, to get into stretching their nervous system so that they can become willing to take those actions to be seen, to become more visible, okay? Because when those things change, when the inner changes, the outer starts to change. All right? So that is what I have to say. Um, I have, yes, I have a method. It's called the Create method. And then because so what I do with my clients is we do one-on-one coaching, and so it's very personalized to each person. If you are not ready for that, you can get into my Create Collective, which is a group. So this is more like online group coaching. You're not going to get me one-on-one. It almost feels like it's one-on-one, but you become part of an online community. It's on a WhatsApp, and I drop in journaling questions, prompts, daily challenges, and things that I will put in there about like what I'm doing in my life and how I'm crushing my limiting beliefs and how I'm crushing my fitness goals and things like that. So if you want to be part of the Create Collective, that is actually free, and you can drop the word Create Collective in the comments, and I will shoot you the information on that. If you do want to look into coaching, I do have an application, and you can fill in the application. It's pretty quick, and then we can see if we're the right fit for each other. And I personally go through every single application to see if we are a good match for each other. And I think that is about it. I have also some journaling questions that I will put in the description box if you want to look at those, because I'm a big believer of journaling and how that really helps so much. So I will put a bunch of journaling questions in the description box that you can just take with you and do the inner work yourself. And then of course, if you wanted to do the inner work with me, that would be great. Just fill in that application. And thank you so much for watching. I hope that this helped. And I would love to hear anything that came up for you, any kind of comment or any kind of idea or anything you want to add to the conversation. And then you can join me on Mondays and Fridays when I live stream. All right. Thanks so much.